Hey guys, thank you so much for following us on another episode of Connecting with the Capital District. Today is episode number 5, a very special episode today. We're going to be interviewing Irvin Ackerman from the Albany County Landbank. So stay tuned for a very special episode. Thanks guys. Hey Irv, how's it going?
Great, Kev. How you doing?
Good, man. Hey, thanks so much for coming on our 5th episode of Connecting with the Capital District. Let's learn more about what the Albany County Landbank is doing.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So let's go check out some of the buildings you guys are working on. And I'm looking forward to hear more about what you guys are doing in the community, and moreover within Albany.
Yeah, we have done a lot of work, and this is a focus neighborhood: Arbor Hill, West Hill, South End. A lot of deterioration from things that happened in the past, particularly redlining. It was a federal government program that basically rated this neighborhood a D, which meant that banks and insurance companies would divest it from the area. At the same time, the federal government provided incentives for white Americans to move to the suburbs. So you had banks, the government, and insurance companies not providing loans to the communities. At the same time, they put a restrictive covenant where African Americans couldn't move out to the suburbs. So they were stuck in the neighborhoods here. It's really strange because most of our properties are still right within those red lines.
Yeah.
Most of the vacant properties and the disinvestment. And that's part why I really wanted to do this work, just to make a difference in the community and get these vacant buildings occupied and back on the tax rolls and moving again.
Well, that's good, and I think what you're doing is very admirable. And I think, when you kind of break it down like the way you're doing, which is awesome, it really kind of speaks to the heart of the situation we have right now in the city of Albany. And I think with the work that you guys are doing at the Albany County Landbank, as well as the work that you're doing specifically with real estate, I think we're going to be in a good shape, in the years to come. So why don't we continue the interview? We'll jump inside and we'll take it from there.
All right.
Perfect. So tell me more about the different programs that the Land Bank is doing, and let me just learn more about pretty much everything that you guys are attempting to do in the community.
All right. So this program here is called. This property was rehabbed. Mm-hmm. It's called Neighbors for Neighborhoods. It's pretty much we worked with the Attorney General, Enterprise, the City of Albany, and Albany Landbank to fund this project. These two properties, 315 and 311, have been vacant for years in disrepair, and the private market couldn't fix them because the economics just didn't make sense. Mm-hmm. So these are 2 of 4 full rehabs that we're doing. The program is a really special program. It empowers community members to purchase properties where they can also have a rental income.
Wow.
You have to live within 15-mile radius of the properties. As well as you can't own more than 2 properties. So it really gives the little guy a chance to own something and to also make income on the properties.
Definitely. I think that's awesome. And I think it's really good how you guys really just grabbed the bull by the horns and renovated this place. You guys did a really good job with that. In addition to that, I think it's great how you're making it so it's really focused on people who are from the community or living in the community at least, as well as to make it so it's not more than 2 properties. You know what I mean? Because I think you can attest to this, that a lot of times you get people that come in here and they have a lot of money, so they buy up the areas and they're not really vested into the properties. And I think what you guys are doing is you're trying to have people who have a vested interest in the properties. So that's really good.
That's really big too, and that's one of the tenets of the land bank, is to make sure that buyers actually finish their properties. Because the old way was the auction, the first money, whoever had the money bought the property, nobody cared what they did with it. So they would sit there, 4 years. Some of them come through the foreclosure process 4 times, and now they have to be demolished. But everyone pays for it, the entire county pays for it.
Exactly.
It's not just Albany or the one person. So the land bank's process is really working well, and we're excited. We've sold over 400 properties now. Our executive director, Adam Zarenko, is big on empowering us to dream and to try new things. What's the worst that can happen? We can fail. So we're excited. We've done a lot of work, but we have a lot more work to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, with that being said, what role do you play in the process with the land bank, and how do you feel like, you really, you bring your skills to the table to be able to ensure that everything happens in an effective manner?
Okay, I am the real estate sales and assistant property manager at the land bank. So at the land bank, we all tend to help out. There's no rigid roles, but whatever's needed, I'm there to do. Mm-hmm. But primarily, I price all of the properties, the inventory, run sales comps, put the properties on the market for sale. I also hold all of the open houses. We enter and we do inspections and monitor the properties while they're for sale, and that's pretty much.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like in a nutshell, that's a lot. You do a lot, and I'm sure pretty much all the skills and different things that you do really play a part in the success of the land bank. And I think what I'm learning about the land bank is it's not just a faceless organization; it's an organization that actually is part of the community. And there's people that are playing a part, like yourself and other people that are there. And you guys are really you have your roots in the community. It's not just your organization that is somewhere far away, but you guys are here. You guys are making change, and you guys are really making an impact.
We really are, and everyone cares. There's a lot of organizations that have been doing a lot of work in this area, from contractors, Affordable Housing Partnership, Land Trust. Just a lot of organizations that have been here a lot longer than the land bank. We're kind of the new kid on the block, but we work with everyone. We say, hey, we got an idea, or how can we get better? This situation with the vacant buildings and zombie properties were here way before we were. But we're doing everything we can to move them along and to get them occupied again.
That's awesome. So another question to kind of piggyback on what you just said. So how does the Albany County Land Bank work with other organizations to effectuate change within Albany?
So we've done, right next door, we did a partnership with Habitat. That was a joint partnership also with the city of Albany to complete a full rehab property, and it was sold to a buyer, first-time home buyer.
That's awesome.
Who now has a home. And they have a great story. They're from the Bronx and they moved up here, and so they're here. And then on this block here, there was a lot more vacant properties. Now there's only a few left.
That's good. And I think it's awesome to kind of further expound on what you're saying, because my former background as being a code enforcement inspector for the city of Albany, I'm very familiar with the zombie properties and the vacant buildings. And I have had firsthand knowledge of the vacant building registry, and to be able to see you guys kind of really working with Clinton Ave and other different areas in the city to be able to ensure these buildings go back on the tax roll is awesome, because it helps the city as a whole.
It really does. And we're one county, so we have the suburbs, we have the hill towns, we have Albany, so it affects everyone, all of us. So these vacant buildings are here causing harm. It's known to increase gun violence, vacant buildings, air quality issues. We run into squatters quite a bit in the properties, which also is dangerous. Animals, from drugs to the whole gamut. Yeah. So it is tough being out there every day and seeing some of the things that we do see. But we have a mission, and we try to stick to that mission, and we know that every property we sell, through our process, that's going to make sure buyers act good and in good faith, that things can change. Yeah, that's true. So what would you say some of the biggest opposition and/or challenges / struggles that you face on a daily basis / the Albany County Landbank faces on a daily basis? I think that the type of properties we deal with, most of them have the placards on them. That's the red sign with the white X's. Yep. They're challenging. They could have structural issues. They have leaky roofs. There's, like I mentioned, there's squatters in there. So that was some of the day-to-day things that we see out there.
Yeah.
I think overall we're always looking for funding as well.
Okay.
I mean, funding's always going to be a challenge for us, and new ways to get these zombie properties out of the hands of banks.
Yeah, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that there's being legislation that they're working on right now in Albany County to ensure that the process moves faster for the turnaround time for when a property goes into foreclosure, or pretty much the owner ends up leaving it, to be able to actually move faster to get to the Albany Landbank's hands. Is that true, or is that something?
That is true, and the city of Albany has been great as far as where they've come from with the solution, with the problem. Sam Wells over there is doing a great job with the vacant buildings, and there is a lot of there's a legislation to move the process up. So if the building's known to be vacant, they're trying to reduce that time. Right now, it takes 4 years.
4 years?
4 years for the county to foreclose. But sometimes if a bank is paying the taxes, that could go on for 10 years.
Yeah.
So they're trying to look at ways to get those tough properties from banks out of their hands into hands of someone who can do something.
Yeah. So it seems like this is an effort from all different parts of government, and as well as people in not-for-profit agencies and things like that, because you're working with the city, you're working with the county, the district attorney's office. So it seems like pretty much everybody knows this is an issue, and everybody really is trying to make it easier to ensure that the process is more smooth.
I totally agree. Everything's so partisan now.
Yeah.
But around the vacant buildings, everybody seems to be focusing on it and trying their best. We have 18 municipalities that we cover.
Yeah.
So we may be out in Colony, and we may be in Bern.
Yeah.
As far as Rensselaerville by Greene County. So it's really been great to see, because each area has their own set of problems.
Yeah.
So what's the major problem in Albany may not be in Bern,
Exactly.
or Guilderland or Waterville. So it's really good to see everyone trying to work together to solve this problem.